Hey ATM family, that's All Things Madison. Get it? First, let me pay homage to my Grandma Tina Smith, who was an educator, a pastor, and my dad's mom. She died long before I was born, but today is her birthday. Though I didn't get a chance to know her, I continue to learn about her in each of the stories my dad tells. Trust me, he really knows how to spin the yarn. That's old folks speak for telling good stories. Grandma Tina, this episode is for you. Well, it's officially fall, and I'm officially wrapping up when I step outside in the morning for school. It's 46 degrees here in the morning, and it's only October. Anyhow, I hope school is going well for everyone, and let me tell you, I am so happy to be back in person for school. Anyhow, I hope school is going well for everyone, and let me tell you, I am so happy to be back in person for school. Not that it was bad at home, but I miss the camaraderie of having my friends around. And just mixing it up with different people, you know? You probably noticed my episodes have been a bit sporadic as of late. Yeah, it's a lot harder to manage now that I'm back in school. Let's see. Well, I'm in the chess club. I have a serious swimming routine. I'm finishing up on my graphic novel. And I still have homework to do. Geez, talk about busy. What's a girl to do? But I've got a cool episode for you this week. Halloween edition. About a month ago, me and my dad went to the Pan-African Festival in Decatur, Georgia. It was really cool, with lots of eclectic and artsy type of people. There were musicians performing, spoken word artists, you know, people who say poetry in a crowd like Amanda Gorman. And there were artists too, lots of them. We met this one. Her name was Jazzy. Her artwork was amazing. We began to chat, and I invited her on my show. This week, we'll talk with Jazzy about her art, what inspires her, and how you can get started too. Be sure to stick around for the end. She has a pretty neat surprise for you. I think you're gonna like it. Okay, now onto the show.
Welcome to All Things Madison, the podcast exclusively for kids, sure to tickle your funny bone while learning something new at the same time. You'll hear from talking bears, laughing unicorns, and farting sloths. Here's your host, Madison Lauren. Please enjoy the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm your host, Madison Lauren, and welcome to my show. Each week, we introduce you to exciting people with cool jobs, go behind the scenes of new places, or we review books, movies, and topics that kids care about. Oh yeah, and the show is produced by my dad, the goofball you might hear from time to time, and supported in part by Kids Listen. And if you'd like to support us, you can simply go to patreon.com/allthingsmadison. We'll be updating the page soon. Oh, and be sure to click the subscribe button, like now. Now on to the show.
We'll return in just a moment.
Newsy Paloozy, we've outgrown the jacuzzi.
We needed a pool.
Because we're a news pool for curious kids.
And adults.
Join us as we dive deep into the big news story of the week.
Which might be politics.
Or more likely, some super-duper science story.
Either about happenings here on Earth.
Or up in space.
Also the latest tech news.
Sports news.
Arts, culture, and entertainment.
Darling. And we always like to end with an oddball.
A story to make you smile.
Newsy Paloozy, the News Pool Pod.
New episodes every Wednesday.
And now back to the show.
Now, without further delay, my interview with visual artist Jazzy. Hi, Jazzy. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Madison. Thank you for having me on All Things Madison. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
So, my dad and I met you at Pan-African Festival in Decatur, Georgia, a few weeks ago, and we fell in love with your work. My dad thought it would be a great idea to have you on the show, so here we are.
Yes, I remember that event. It was really nice meeting you, and I'm really glad you gave me this opportunity to share my craft and what I love. So I'm really excited to talk about it with you and your listeners.
To start with, tell my audience how it all began for you, or what we like to call the origin story?
Well, when I was younger, about maybe 15 years old, I learned about painting. I had a ninth grade art class, and my teacher taught us painting, which for me was actually something that I was afraid of because I was only used to drawing and using like markers and things like that. And the idea of a medium that was very fluid and I didn't understand, it kind of challenged me and made me feel a little afraid. But once I got the hang of it, it became the thing that I would resort to when I was looking for something to excite me and like, calm my nerves or, just make me have some fun or let me have some fun. And so I go by this understanding, what is your passion? And I just remember thinking, painting is my passion, creating is my passion. And so I just chased that dream. So that's my origin story. And I've just been developing it over the years. I'll show you my first piece that I made when I was in ninth grade. It was in a competition. And what I learned to like about painting was that I could tell a story about life or history or her story, whatever I wanted to say, I could paint it. And the person could look at my painting and see my brush strokes and kind of connect with me in a different way than just when you use a pencil to draw. So this story is about our culture as African Americans and some of the trials that we learned about in school and that we learned about through storytelling. And this represents the good over here. This represents the bad over here. And they're separated by the sun. So this is like when you were not treated well. This is like fire. This is blood, sweat, and tears. And this is like death, which is a lot of us experience in slavery. And this is a representation of light and family and spirituality. And this is a representation of hope and faith because of keeping us from the heat of the sun. And this is a representation of family and birth and newness and hope and the North Star and praising of God and keeping each other uplifted. And so I was in a competition and it won third place. And so I realized that I was able to touch people because they kept asking me about it. And so that's where I decided I can talk about myself and what I believe in without actually having to say it. And I can speak to people through art. And so, yeah.
Wow, that is an interesting backstory.
Thank you.
Personally, I love connecting with other creatives. We're such an interesting group, aren't we?
We are. So, yes, I think so. I think it's good. I love meeting people who are passionate about what they love.
Me too. Like, I have a lot of friends who, like, they don't really speak about what they like.
Maybe they're still learning about it.
Maybe. But what I like about you is that you're a lot like me, but older. And we have that Black girl magic, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was so inspired by you when your father told me you had your own show. I have children of my own. And I just thought, you know what? It's never too young to start doing what you love. And like I said, I remember me knowing at a young age, I love art and I want to do this. I want to express myself this way. So I just thought it was wonderful that you also like to express yourself through speaking with people and like getting them to open up to you and talk about things. And I remember telling you this too, but yeah, so absolutely. I am so excited that we got this, magic in us naturally.
Thank you. Can you tell my audience what it's like to work for yourself as a full-time artist? What are your joys and what are your frustrations?
What I like about it is the opportunity to do what I love every day. I don't feel overwhelmed because I worked a 9 to 5, as people say, 9 to 5. I worked a corporate job where I had deadlines and a lot of stress, a lot of people wanting things that they couldn't actually have at the time, but they made you feel like, give it to me now. I hope you never have to experience that overwhelming discomfort, but I did. And when I decided that I wanted to do this more, in 2017, going into 2020 was like my biggest year of my decision to move away from it. I felt such a relief and a weight lifted because every day I would wake up just so happy because I felt so fulfilled. I would say not necessarily a frustration with my business, have my own business and doing this all the time, but rather it's challenging because as creatives, sometimes we don't always know the behind the scenes business side of your business. And so learning that has been a challenge for me.
Okay, Jazzy, how do you find your inspiration for your work? What artists influence you or your style?
So I am mostly influenced by the people that are around me. I like to travel, and I've been a couple of places around the world, like London, Germany. I've been to Spain. I've been to France. I've been to some states in the United States, to Canada. And I love the way people interact with each other. I love cultural differences. I love food, and I love architecture, which is what I went to school for. So I've just got like this really broad range of like how I feel about life. And remember, I was telling you about storytelling, and it's my way of saying like, when I went to this place, I felt this feeling, and like I was inspired by this thing that I saw, and I want to like recreate it so you kind of sense what I felt. And so those are the things that inspired me. So just the world around me.
Wow. You have so many inspirations and don't have so many inspirations. It's like you're just inspired by the people around you, like your family and your friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my children also, I would say my oldest son is very expressive too. And just like you, one day he asked me, Mommy, do you think that men are beautiful, for example? And I was like, yes, like your father, he's handsome. You're handsome. I love you. And he asked me, why don't you have any artwork with men? And so he inspired me to create more male figures in my art. So I painted the woman because I identify with her, right? Because I'm a woman and because I want to show me as beautiful and I want to show other women of what beauty is in my representation. But when my son asked me that question, then I said, okay, I need to show a representation of what I think is beautiful about a man. And so that's when I started painting more male art.
Wow, interesting. Okay, where do you see your career going in the future? What would you like to be doing that you aren't doing now?
So I want to have my own gallery one day. I want to be able to open up my studio space to young girls like yourself and people who are also interested in art and expressing themselves so that they can come in and kind of like paint with me. I want to have an area where I can sell my art and sell my products, and then a space where it's just like wind down. You can read books, you can paint, you can just kind of chit chat because I love to talk and meet people. So I wanted to have this like library, coffee, cafe, art gallery and learning feel to it.
Wow. I do believe that can happen. And if it did happen, it'll be so awesome.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to have you come hang out with me in my space.
I'd love to come visit. So who is someone that you never met before, but you would like to meet? Like who's on your people bucket list?
So the person I would like to meet is Tracy Ellis Ross. And the reason why is because she is so bubbly. She believes in herself. I can just see her like with Instagram, it's actually made it a little easier for you to kind of like connect with people behind the scenes and when they're not in movies or TV shows. But like, she's just so comfortable in her skin. And I think she's so funny. And I think she's so wild and free. And it's something that I love about myself also, like being spontaneous and just like loving the skin I'm in. And so I would love to sit down and have a conversation with her. Tracy, if you're listening to this, please contact me and find me a way so we can meet and we can talk, because I just really think you're a wonderful person.
I think we'll tag her on Instagram. What do you think?
I think that's an awesome idea. I would really appreciate that.
Okay, we've come to our last question, Jazzy. I can honestly say I hate to see this one end. Such a great talk. My question is, for all the young girls out there like me who aspire to be artists and travel around festivals and exhibits like you, what advice can you offer us to follow in your footsteps?
I would say accept every opportunity that comes your way, even if it might make you feel uncomfortable or afraid. Be willing to challenge yourself. Remember to ask for help if you feel overwhelmed, and trust that God will direct your path to the right people so that you can accomplish the things that you want to accomplish.
Wow, that is so inspirational. So before we go, can you name some of those beautiful pictures in the background? They're so pretty.
Thank you. Absolutely. This one here I call Bozeman. The one behind it is called Lavender. This is Butterfly. This is Cognition. Elephant. Africa's Diamond. El Elefante. And City.
So do you sell original prints or do you sell reproductions?
I actually sell both. I sell the original artwork as well as a limited edition print in clay form. And I print them on high quality art paper with high quality inks. And they're limited edition, which means there are only a certain amount available of them.
That's great. So tell me, Jazzy, where can my audience find your work so that they can support you?
Okay, so the name of my company is Jazzy Made, and my website is jazzymade.me. That's JAZZYMADE.ME, jazzymade.me. And this is just like an example of my journal, and it's me. And you can also follow me on Instagram at jazzy.elise. And then I also have a YouTube channel where I paint live, and that is Jazzy Made.
So Jazzy, can you offer my audience something if they check you out today?
Absolutely. I can offer you a workshop because I really enjoyed myself on the All Things Madison show. This workshop could include time with me in my studio where we get to talk about some things behind the scenes. And what I can offer is a journal with your face on the cover for a special deal. If you order the journal, you get in the class, but you have to use code All Things Madison, and you have to sign up before the end of the week. So go on my website, and my website is www.jazzymade.me, and then give me your email me your contact information, and we can work something out.
Jazzy, that sounds awesome. Girls, make sure you get that today. Jazzy, thanks again, and we wish you all the success in the world. Please don't be a stranger to the show. We would love to have you back again.
Bye. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you on your show.
Okay, bye.
We'll return in just a moment.
Ooh-wee. You are sharp, girl.
Oh, Daddy.
Seriously, you are fly.
I don't think they say that anymore.
Crunk?
Nope.
Jiggy?
Definitely not. You should stop. You're showing your age.
Then what do kids say these days?
How about just cute?
Cute. Got it. Super cute.
Yeah, this is a pretty fresh outfit. Where did you get it?
Macari.
What's that? A new store?
Kinda. It's actually an online market where you can buy some of the coolest stuff. They have everything, from clothes to shoes to accessories and more.
Oh, it's just for kids?
No, that's just it. It's for the whole family. And if you need to clean out your closet or garage, you can post your stuff to sell as well.
It's sort of like Amazon, right?
It's more like a super cool consignment shop where you can get great deals and sell your stuff to make real money.
That's cool. How can my audience check it out?
Great question, Madison. The ATM family can just click the link in the show notes to get $30 off their first order and $10 cash when they post their first item for sale.
That's dope. Super dope.
See? I knew it.
Knew what?
I knew there was a word you kids are using to describe something cool, like the hot girl summer.
No, don't do that, Daddy. That's not the look. To get your look on for the fall and beyond, visit Macari. It's in the show notes today. Not your ordinary walk in the park. Today I'm going to flip it up on you guys. Why? Because I just had the weirdest experience, and I think I need to share. Sharing is caring, but it's also therapeutic. It's a story I'm going to tell you. I'm calling it Not Your Ordinary Walk in the Park. So after chess club today, my dad picked me up and we headed over to the pool, where we expected to get our usual late day swim. But it was packed with the swimming team hogging all the lanes. So instead, we opted for a walk on the trail. But this wasn't our usual trail. Today, my dad had the idea of checking out a new one that we've never been to. And I'll admit, I was curious too. But you know what they said about curiosity? It killed the cat. And cats have 9 lives. That's deep. We climbed out of the car. I turned on my favorite podcast, and we began merrily walking down the paved trail. We went past the kids at the soccer field. We passed the playground, filled with toddlers and kindergarteners alike. We rounded the curb, and boom, we're in the woods. There, we met a really nice lady and her daughter. They're from Poland, but she and I go to the same school. She was nice. Her name was Felicia, I think. It was cool. I made a new friend. Then my dad took off for a jog. It was a fast pace too. My stomach was hurting. I had just eaten before we left. When I kept trying to get him to slow down, he just kept on running. Daddy, slow down, I said. You'll be all right. You're making excuses, he said. That's his response to almost everything. You'll be all right. Well, hopefully you're not about to die or anything, because my dad will probably tell you, you'll be all right, just as you're about to go towards the light. It's so pretty, isn't it? Stay away from the light. I repeat, stay away from the light. Go the other way. Finally, we came to a stop. It was another playground. I didn't know how far we had gone, but I knew it was quite far. And this is where things went awry. The lady told my dad once she got to the playground, she just turned around and came back. Apparently, the park is pretty big. The air was getting a tad chilly, and the evening was getting a little late. But Dad being Dad, he licked his thumb, stuck it high into the air, and said, "This way, my child." Well, maybe not exactly like that, but that's how I remember it anyway. For a moment, it looked like we were going in the right direction. As he said, we could see the trail we had traveled on below us as we were on the hill. But the hill veered off, and my dad's face grew unsure. We stopped. Daddy, are you sure you know where we're going? Yes, he said. We're headed in the right direction. Now, if you ask me if I know exactly where we are, I would say no. So we're lost. No, we're just a little off the beaten path. Consider us explorers, and we're going on a fabulous adventure. At 6:30 in the evening? On a school night? Hush, we'll be back before you know it. And think about the cool story you'll have to tell your little friends, he explained. Okay, so in general, my dad has a really good sense of direction, and he's never steered me wrong. So I felt pretty comfortable with his confidence. What I wasn't sure about is where we were headed. It got strange. We walked maybe a quarter mile further, and there was a tennis court and a road we knew. Nice. We weren't far away from the car now. So there's nothing to worry about, right? Then he says, "Hey, let's walk on the dirt path and see where it takes us. I bet it'll take us back to the trail below." That's a bad idea, Daddy. Why? It looks dirty? That's the point. It's a dirt trail. Dirt trails are supposed to be dirty. Come on, don't be such a wimp. And off we went down the dirt trail. It took us right along the edge of the woods. Chicka chicka. I heard something. Daddy, what was that? was nothing. Keep moving, he said, blowing me off. Chicka chicka. I heard it again. This time he heard it too. What was that, Daddy? Probably a squirrel, or maybe a deer. Maybe a bear? Doubtful, but maybe, he said. All of a sudden, the trail opened into an old churchyard cemetery. It was creepy. The gravesite was overgrown with weeds. They stood taller than my head. Some of the headstones were cracked and turned over. There was fresh mud along the ground. The graves looked disturbed, like somebody had just climbed out of... Daddy, stop playing. He was carefully trying to tiptoe around the mud. What's wrong? He said. Stop playing around. What are you talking about? You rubbed the back of my leg. Madison, how can I rub your leg if I am in front of you? He asked with his typical common sense that made you think. Right. If he's in front of me, then who or what was behind me? I don't know, but I'm not sticking around to find out. Nope, it's time to go, Daddy, now. I'm trying. Can't you see we need to walk around this mud? I don't care about the mud anymore. I'll just have to clean my shoes when we get home. But they'll be ruined, he said, pleading with me. Clearly, there is something in the woods with us. I can toss my shoes in the washing machine after dinner tonight. And if they happen to get ruined, as you say, they'll be all right. Well, if you say so, he conceded. I say I do not want to get eaten out here tonight. We tiptoed carefully across the muddy graves. I saw what looked like a muddy handprint atop the only new headstone in the whole place. It was a beautiful stone with the roads etched on its face. The placard said, Pritchett. It gave me a weird feeling in my gut, like something was amiss. Think of it. It was the only new headstone in the whole graveyard of old weathered stone. And the mud. It was from the newly dug grave. It had washed downhill where we entered the graveyard. Nearby, a dilapidated church stood. Maybe it was open, maybe it wasn't. It was hard to tell. It wasn't taken very good care of. Dusk was quickly settling over the sky. The full moon shyly began to peek through, like she was hiding from us. My anxiety began to set in. Yes, the car was just around the corner by now, but the walk may as well be another 2 miles, because we had to walk past the old church. The graveyard had creeped me out, but the church was a whole nother thing entirely. The pathway to the church parking lot was surrounded by these huge trees. The branches arched high into the air. There I saw the spiders! There were these massive creatures, filled with all kinds of pus and goo. I can only imagine getting bitten by one, and not being able to take another step. I am certain they were poisonous. Just as I was about to mention the spider to my dad, that's when I saw it. Daddy, there is someone in the window. Where? I grabbed his arm. We came to an abrupt stop. There! I looked. He looked. I rubbed my eyes. He rubbed his eyes. Chicka chicka. It was the noise from the woods again. Daddy, what is that? I don't know, Madison. The sense of urgency grew in my dad's voice. There was a look of distress in his face. His confidence was gone now. It was time to panic. Hold my hand, Madison. Let's get up out of here, and quickly. Did you see it? The man, thing in the window? Yes. What was it? I don't know, but it's time to stop talking now. Just hold my hand, walk fast, and take big steps, he said with his breath increasing. Okay. Are we going to be all right, Daddy? We are if you stop talking and start walking. And if I say run, I want you to go on a dead sprint to the car. Got it? Got it. I could see my dad meant business. He was on high alert. Chicka chicka. The sound grew closer on us. The night was falling quickly as well. Chicka chicka. It was closing in on us. Chicka chicka. Daddy, help me. It's getting closer. I'm scared. Chicka chicka. Suddenly, a man in camouflage, I emerged from the brush. He stopped my dad. "Excuse me, sir. I've been trying to catch you for the last couple of miles. I think you dropped this." He handed my dad a card. "Oh, it's my license. It must have fallen out of my phone case. Man, thank you so much." "Not a problem. I'm just glad I caught up with you guys. You were moving kind of fast." "Yeah, I think she just got a little spooked back there. And she got into my head a little too." "You have a reason to be. They say the old church is haunted, and people who travel through the graveyard usually never return to tell about it." "What?" "It's true. I'd stay clear of that place if I were you." "Okay, you two have yourselves a good night now. You hear?" "See? What did I tell you, Daddy?" "Yeah, I have to admit, I was wrong this time." He tried to change the subject. "Hey, haha, look at that." Just as we walked up to our car, a sign read, "Pick up after your dog. After all, it's your duty." But seriously, we are not doing that again. And now it's time for the word of the day. The word of the day is therapeutic. Therapeutic generally means to relax or take comfort in something. Example: I love my candlelight bubble baths because they are so therapeutic and relaxing. The word of the day is therapeutic. A special thank you to my new friend Jazzy for coming on my show. And be sure to check out the deal she's giving you guys too. Thanks for tuning into the show. I never want to take you for granted, so just know it means a lot. Now, people are asking, where can they find my stuff? If you're looking for the coolest tees, hoodies, accessories, and more, you can just go to shopmadisonlauren.com and you will find everything there. Now, do me a favor and take a moment to hit the subscribe button under this episode or video. That way, you'll be notified when each new episode comes out. And if you enjoyed the show, kindly leave us a 5-star rating and a short review if you have time. This lets other moms and dads know they too should download it for their munchkins. Okay, on that note, I'm out.
Thank you for listening to All Things Madison. Kindly take a moment to subscribe, leave a comment, and rate the show so that our participating partners know you are following along. You can get your Madison Lauren graphic tees at shopmadisonlauren.com or follow her YouTube channel at All Things Madison. This production was brought to you by Infinity Global Media Group LLC. Contact us at smith.durante@gmail.com for bookings or more information.